boy. I am not a morning person. Well guys, good morning and welcome back to the channel. It's going to be a pretty big day. I'm going to be taking the stove out of here and refurbishing it. So right now it's all rusty and kind of under the weather. So I'm going to be taking it, sanding it down, and then polishing it up to look like new. And then hopefully tomorrow morning, Dan will be able to come over on his fan boat and take me into town so that I can get the chimney pieces I need so I can fully install that. I don't know if I'll be able to do all of that this video, but I'm gonna at least try and get the stove looking like new again. All right, so the first thing we gotta figure out is how to get this out of here. And I'm not sure how heavy this thing is. I've never tried to move it, so I might need to get some help, but let's see. Whoa. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need to get a hand getting this thing outside, but once we get it out there, I'll sand off some of this rust and then we can get to work on it. I think, yeah, there's still some wood and stuff in there, so I'll have to clean that out as well. But I'm gonna go get a hand and then we'll get this thing outside. How sharp is this on the bottom? Wow, that's sharp. Ready? Ah, pamunga! My fingers.
We're gonna have to.
Here, Pete, can you get it through the door?
Got it.
Here.
Where do you want it then?
Let's set it outside.
Oh.
All right, so while I'm cleaning that out, I'm also gonna get a fire going in the burn barrel and work on that pile that's behind the house. Try and burn as much of it as I can during this kind of wetter, rainy weather. I'm gonna need to use normal firewood to get a good base going before I start burning most of that because it's very wet right now. So the first thing I'm gonna need to do is just take this little brush and kind of sand everything down. I've got a bit of sandpaper and other, sponges and stuff just to try and get some of the rust off. It's actually in really good shape compared to what I thought it was gonna be. And then once I'm done that, I've got some stove polish paste that will go on in thin layers, which will give it a newer black finish and also help protect against future rust. But once I put this on, I'm going to need to light a fire in to let it bake. I'm going to do that outside, obviously, because I don't have a stovepipe yet, but then also because it says that it's non-toxic fumes, but I think it would just be better to do it outside anyway. So first thing is to scrape off the rust. As you can see, it's already starting to look a bit better. It is snowing now, which I don't think should be an issue during the scrubbing phase. But if it keeps snowing like this, I might have to take this inside after I'm done this and then apply the polish inside once I've let it dry a bit and do the stove burning to finalize the job on a later date when it's not snowing. It started snowing a little bit too much, so I took it back inside. I got most of the rust on the two sides, back and top. There's a few inner spots that I need to work on, and then I need to take off the front door and work in around that area. But most of it's pretty good. Since it got wet, I'm going to dry it off quickly and keep it from rusting further. But it's looking good so far. Like I said, it was in a lot better shape than I originally thought, which is really nice. Now I want to be careful with this door piece because I don't want to scratch any of the glass. I don't have any glass cleaner quite yet, but once I get it, this can be all brand new as well. I'm just going to carefully scrape the sides. It doesn't need much, it's fairly clean, so it won't take too much brushing, I don't think. Well, that's a lot better. It's mostly all gone. I don't think I can get all of it off, but I think that's good enough. So I'm going to do this side first, just as a test. I don't have anything better to wipe it down with than this, which will probably soak some of it up. So unfortunately I don't have anything better, but I'm just going to do one little layer on this side to kind of test it out and see how it works, and then I'll do the rest. But before I do this, I turned off the propane heater, of course, and opened one of the windows. So it's pretty cold in here now. Exactly sure what the best way to do this is, but I'll just go like this. Kind of smother a bit on. We'll just smother a little bit on. Never used this stuff before, but the instructions just said do thin layers, so shouldn't be too difficult. That's looking pretty good. Well, I'll let that sit for a bit and then try the other sides. Well guys, it's looking really good. Definitely looks a lot better than it did when I first started, and it'll look even better once it's had time to settle in and had a fire inside of it so it can really, settle. But everything looks good. Like I mentioned, it was all cleaner than I thought. The rust came off really easily, and then the coats went on nicely, and it's smooth to the touch now, where before you'd get like rust splinters. So I'm really happy with it. I'm going to let it sit, and then I'll kind of show you guys a bit more so you can really see how much it's changed. Just realized I punctured one of my gloves, but it's fine. Hands are cold though. It's pretty chilly outside. The snow kind of stopped, but it's still like this misty kind of rain. Whew. Luckily this is still going though. Well, I think that's about as clean as I'm going to get the window with only Windex. I'll get some proper fireplace glass cleaner before I start to really use this thing. Alright, so the stove sat overnight. Not really because I wanted to. It's not a necessary step, but because it was snowing. It's still snowing now, just a lot less, so I think it should be fine. So I'm just going to get a little fire going in here to let the fire stove paste kind of settle in all around it. All right. Should get going pretty soon.
Oh my goodness, the back is heavy. Yeah, that's what I carried with home. Is that proper? Is that to measure? Is that proper?
Alright, so the stove looks great after baking, and everything is smooth to the touch if you feel it. Like it's all on there, nice and good. So yeah, it looks great. It was awesome to light a fire inside of it and make sure it was all working, which it was. Everything was working smoothly. And just holding my hand above it when the fire was going, I can really tell that this is probably even going to be overkill for this size of room. I might have to have a window open, but that's, not a problem. That's actually a blessing because in the winter it can get really, really cold here, and even in the fall time. And I'm kind of a warm-blooded guy anyways. So I look forward to getting the chimney pipe in here and getting all this set up. But before we do that, I'm going to have to take some measurements to see exactly what kind of piping I need and how long. So I'm going to do that right now. So obviously the main pipe piece I'm going to need is the one that goes straight up, because that's not even here. I'm going to need a new, L piece, because the whole bottom here is rotted out. As you saw, pieces are just falling off when I touch it. A new piece going through the wall, and then another L on the other side. I'll measure all those lengths. But I think that the very top piece outside and the cover are probably fine. They seem to be pretty new, so I'll take a closer look either tomorrow morning or tonight and see. But just today I'm going to take the measurements, and then I'll actually be able to head into town most likely tomorrow and be able to buy these pieces. I also need to take a measurement for the window, the broken window. And one of you guys mentioned on my last video that I should use a plexiglass, which I think I might do, because that window actually was replaced before and it broke the same way with a bird flying into it. So I think a plexiglass thing might just be a safer bet, and it's probably a bit cheaper as well. So I'm going to take these measurements of both the window and the pipe, and then tomorrow Dan will be here on his fan boat, hopefully around 10 to 11. And I'll see if I can get into town and buy those. The first measurement will just be straight up, and these are just rough. It's about 5 feet exactly. We'll call it 61 inches, just because this has also got to go over this little lip here. It's not just straight to the pipe. It has to go a little bit over, because obviously it fits over. So we got 61 inches. I'll write that down. And I'll also be taking photos of all of this with the measurements, just so that when I show them, they can get a actual physical representation instead of just my measurement. I don't think I need to measure the L bracket. I can just take a photo of that, because I think they're roughly all the same size. From the wall to there is about 20. All right, so that's the inside. I have measured these windows before, and I think they're about 26 by 26. Only the top part is broken, so I'll only need to get one. So I'll remeasure those, but I'm pretty sure it's 26 by 26. All right, so I'm going to go outside, measure that pipe, and then we should be good for tomorrow. All right, so this piece is really rusted out, and it's definitely going to need to be replaced. I'll also probably need to have, I forget what it's called, like the little air valve or something, which or an escape, so that the soot can run down the bottom, because I'm guessing that this rotted out because it didn't have one. But we'll take a measurement of this one as well. Like I said, this top pipe seems fine. I think we can just use that one. That's 15, and then an L bracket. We'll make it 16 just to be safe. Worst case, we can trim it. And then last but not least, we'll take a measurement of the window. This isn't the broken one, obviously, but the one that is broken is exactly the same, just on the other side of the cabin. So rough measurement is 26, like I thought, by 26. So yeah, I don't think it should be too hard. You can either find glass or plexiglass. I think plexiglass might be a little bit easier. I've never mounted a window before, but we have a caulking gun, so I think I can do myself. Again, with the chimney installment, I think I can do it myself. Probably shouldn't be too hard, at least what I can imagine. I'm sure there's probably some sort of video or page where people talk about that, where I can figure out just exactly what's involved, and worst case, I can get some help with that. So yeah, I think I can probably do it myself, but we'll see when the time comes. We got most of this pile burnt out. What's left is basically soil, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll have to hop up on my roof and clear the pine needles later this spring, and then I'll just sprinkle pine needles all over this. It's a little bit smoldering right now. I'm going to let it burn down as long as I can, and then before bed I'll get a couple buckets from the lake and completely put this out. But definitely looks a lot better in this area rather than having a big rotten wood pile. It's just nice and smooth again, and looks a lot cleaner around the cabin. All right, so we have another beautiful night here at the island. Nice sunset. We had snow all yesterday, as you saw, and some this morning, but it's all cleared away to an almost completely blue sky. We've got some darker clouds off in the distance, but I think they're blowing the other way. It's been a little bit warmer. It's still pretty chilly. I'm not exactly sure what the exact temperature was today, but it was warmer than it has been, which is a good sign. You can hear the ice cracking like that. It's safe here. It's probably, about 7 inches, but as you get farther out, it has been melting a little bit. You can definitely hear the lake cracking more, and it's thicker than I was expecting it to be at this time, but I think it's going to be in the next 2 weeks that we can see this start flowing out of here. The water levels seem to drop a little bit, which always is a good sign. If it keeps dropping, then all this should break up even earlier than we were expecting. But either way, I'm just enjoying this beautiful time up here. I don't really care if there's ice or not, but propane's almost run out. It might last tonight, but at least we're heading into town tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning when Dan arrives with his fan boat. Well, I got most of everything I wanted to get done, and the stove looks really good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I had never done that before, so I was pretty surprised at how easy it is, and kind of makes me think like there's so many times that there's something that just looks rusty and unusable, and then you just get rid of it and buy something new. Meanwhile, with just a little bit of work, it can be up and running like brand new again, and I'm happy I got to keep the antique one instead of getting a new one. But as always, thank you guys for watching this week's video. Make sure to stay tuned for next week, where I'll be putting in the chimney and getting everything ready in here. We'll just make the whole cabin that much nicer, and I'm just really looking forward to that, and I know most of you guys are too. So as always, a special thank you to those of you who have subscribed to my Patreon channel. There's more and more of you every day, and the list just keeps getting longer, and I really appreciate it. It really helps me to keep making these videos and doing what I love doing. So thank you guys for that, and as always, I will see you guys next week.